In this course, let's see how to declare variables in Python. So Python is the language that is statically typed. What does it mean is that we don't have to specify the type of the variable before declaring it. For example, I don't have to specify int underscore a if I need to declare integer. Instead, if I want to declare an integer with the name a, I can directly use a and assign it a value as 10. So I don't have to specify here whether it's an integer, string, or anything else. Python will automatically understand the type of the variable whenever the value will be assigned to it. It is very important to initialize the variable that we have to declare a value. So while initializing a variable, we have to declare a value to that. Now the value of variable can be changed anytime during the execution. For example, I have written here a is 10. If I try to print a and run the code, I'll get 10. But here, if I write a equals to 20 and print a, then the value of a will be changed to 20, which proves that we can change the value of the stored variable anywhere while the program execution. Now let's take a look at some rules while initializing a variable. So variable name cannot start with a number. For example, if I try that like 3a or something, then it's going to give me an error because we cannot do this. Let's see. 3a equals 12, for example. As you can see, we get an error. So the variable must start with a letter. For example, a. And if I run this code now, it won't give me an error. We also cannot use dash between the name of the variable. For example, if I write a-b and run the code, I'll get an error because dash is reserved for subtraction in Python. The variable names are case sensitive in nature. For example, if I declare a as 12 and print it, it will give me a 12 when I run it. But if I initialize capital A equals to 21, and print the capital A and small a at the same time, then I run the code, I'm going to get two different values because small a is different from the capital A. It will give me an error. Same as before I did with the numerical case. But I can use underscore to start a name of variable and it will run perfectly fine. Other than that, we can also use double underscore. At the end, variable name can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. That means I can also type a underscore b underscore c as a name, which is a valid form, and this is how we can initialize variable in Python. Now here we get some suggestions. While initializing a variable, the first suggestion is try to use meaningful name for variables. Then I must name the variable as name, and I define a name, for example Nazim, by using equals sign. If I want to create a variable for age, then I must name the variable as age. Let's say the age is 90. If we mean the first name there, then we're going to change the name by adding f or first before that. So that can add more meaning to our variable. This was the first suggestion. The second suggestion is try not to use the name of built-in function or reserved words. For example, we have lists in Python. So the list is reserved as a variable, and if I assign it to some value and print it, it won't give me any error, and it will also give me a correct value. But it is a strong suggestion that we should not use the built-in function names or reserved words as our variable names. So these suggestions won't give me any error if I don't obey them. But these are the standard practices everyone should follow, so that another person reading this code can understand it. For example, if I send this code to your friend should know this variable will store only the first name of the person, and this variable will store the age of the person. Then we got type and ID. So a type function will give me what the type of variable it is. And if I write down print type first name, I have to print it, so I have to enclose them in a round bracket and use current statement. So when I run the code, I'll get it as an integer. Let's see. We're gonna get it as class int. Then we have ID variable. ID variable will give me the ID of memory location where the variable is stored. So whenever you initialize a variable, the memory is allocated in Python, and you can use ID function to find the ID of the memory location. For example, if I print ID of age, then I'll get the ID of its location. And there is a thing that every time we run the code, we'll get a different ID. It's because that every time you run, and there's a thing that every time we run the code, we'll get a different ID. It is because that every time you rerun the code, the new memory allocations are done for each variable. Now let's declare A as 12 and B as 12 also, and see what is the ID of A and B by running the code. So you can see that both of the IDs are same. So you can see that both of the IDs are the same. It is because when we initialize a variable Python creates a memory cell. So let's imagine the memory cell and the cells in it. So when we initialize A as 12, then Python will store 12 there, and then it will create a variable named A, which will be pointing to 12. And when we create B as 12, Python will see that 12 has been already stored, so it will just create the B and point it to the same memory location. But if I try and update B to the 21 and run the code, I'll get a different memory location because 21 has different memory location now. So let us summarize all the things up now. Python isn't a statically typed language, which means we don't have to tell Python which type of the variable it is. Python will automatically understand the type of the variable. The variable value can be changed anytime during the program execution. A variable is the only name given to a memory location. Rules for the naming a variable in Python. So, we cannot start a variable name with a number. And we cannot use dash between the variables. This is because dash is used to express the subtraction in Python. Variable names are case sensitive, which means capital A isn't equal to small a. Variable names must start with a letter or underscore character. Finally, the fifth rule is that the variable name can only contain alphanumeric character and underscores. This means if I try to use numerical values between the name of variable, it won't cause any error.